All right, everyone, we're going to start it. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting for the Township of Lopatcong for June 3rd, 2026. Bow your head for a moment of prayer, please. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 72 of the Public Laws of 2025 by advertising a notice on the Township website, lopatcongtownship.com, and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and is accessible by direct hyperlink placed on the New Jersey Secretary of State's portal. Roll call, please, Beth.
Yes, Councilman Belcarra.
Here.
Councilman Marinelli.
Here.
Councilman McQuaid.
Here.
Council President Polito.
Here.
Mayor Wright.
Here. Wade, would you summarize executive session, please?
Yes, Township Council met in executive session where it discussed the following privileged matters: attorney-client privilege, Lopatcong Park project, contractual LAA contract update, attorney-client privilege, the Cubes warehouse fees agreement with Lopatcong, litigation, harbor management, Brakely Gardens update, contractual DPW contract update, and personnel PBA grievance. Minutes from the executive session will be released at such time as the council deems no public harm will come from it and no official action was taken. There's going to be a motion to deny the PBA grievance as discussed in executive session. If someone wants to make that motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Whatever. All in favor, roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarra.
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Council President Polito.
Yes.
Mayor Wright.
Yes.
And there's going to be a motion to reject Shoreland Construction Inc.'s request to withdraw their bid on the Lopatcong Park project. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarra.
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Council President Polito.
Yes.
Mayor Wright.
Yes. Okay. All right, before we get to the rest of the meeting, I want to address the agenda quickly. I want to correct many misstatements that predated our meeting tonight. And I want to explain why the agenda is structured the way it is. First, I want to reiterate what I wrote on May 23rd letter. Lopatcong is not considering a construction of a data center. No one on this council has met with the data center developer about a proposed data center, and none of us have sought one out. Every internet post that you guys saw was a complete lie. Next, the township decision to impose conditions in the event a data center proposal found its way to us was triggered by a resolution from the county commissioners and by way of recommendations from the planning board to introduce ordinance number 26-4. The second reading of ordinance 26-4 remains on tonight's agenda at the direction of the township attorney, so it can be closed and rejected by the council in action on it tonight. Additionally, it'll also be rendered moot by the township taking action tonight on ordinance 2006, banning data centers initially in the ROM zone, the only place where they are presently permitted. And after the master plan review at the planning board on June 24th, then entire township. Each action adds additional layer of protection to the township against unwanted data center development. And that's it. So all this stuff that got put out was a lie. It's horrible to say, but it is. All right, so now we're going to move to ordinance number 26-06. First reading ordinance of the Township of...
Public comment.
Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, everyone. Okay, skip that. Public comment on agenda items only. Now, you heard what I was going to say, so we don't have to kill ourselves all
Can we
night.
comment on the data center?
What's that, sir?
Can we comment on the ordinance for the data center? It's first reading, right?
Yeah.
Does that get changed as we go?
Come on up, sir. Can you come on?
Yeah, sorry, guys. Hey, my name is Patrick Brown. I live one house over. And, Mr. Mayor, how are you?
Good, sir.
Question. not familiar with ordinance, right, for second, third reading, right? But you edit as you go along and you come to a final decision, right? That's your ordinance. Just wondering, in that ROM zone that you mentioned, are any of you aware of how big a power pole is needed to feed a data center? How big a data transmission pole with, their lines running over it are needed? The average power pole for a medium-sized data center is, look it up, it's on AI, is 160 to 200 feet high, okay? And that's a pole. So, and that pole has a circumference of some 12 to 15 feet. Those are huge. So you might want to add that to the ordinance also, that power poles cannot be bigger than the ones allowed in the current ROM zone.
So I just want to specify, so this is on for first reading. It does not get changed from the introduction to the second reading. So
Right.
once it's introduced, it can't be changed.
Right.
And it is proposing to prohibit it in the ROM zone. So it would not be allowed.
Right, so those poles would not be,
Correct.
okay. All right.
No, that's good, that's good.
Yeah, that's all I had. You just have to be aware of that, and they also be aware of the data lines that feed in and out.
Not gonna happen.
They have corrosive, yeah, but they're just in the future, right? They have corrosive material inside of them, right? And that leaks, you have an issue, but just the grand scale of the poles, everybody thinks power, water, this, that. Just think of that structure going on, going in Lopat.
Everything I've heard is horrible, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks, boys.
All right, sir, thank you. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. You're next, sir.
Oh,
No, that's okay.
I'll be really quick. So in easier terms,
Name, please?
hi, Susan Haley and 68 Overlook Drive, Stewartsville, New Jersey. Well, that's mailing, but I'm Lopat, but anyway. So just to be clear, you said they're terrible, they're horrible. Can you eventually put a ban totally like the other townships surrounding us? Are you saying you'll put a total ban, no data centers whatsoever?
A band's a band.
Well, ban with provisions, like saying a certain area. I thought I heard you
We
said,
can't put them in residential areas, I mean, that's.
obviously,
common sense.
but how about the whole town? Like
So-
none in Lopatcong, that's all I'm trying to say.
Yes. So right now, the ROM zone is it's already permitted in the ROM zone.
What's the ROM zone? Is that in Lopatcong?
Yeah, research, office, manufacturing.
See, that's the problem. Because Strikers Road is right behind our development, and that's probably one of those zones. You build one of those giant things there, we're gonna hear humming, it's gonna, other townships ban them totally.
Yeah.
Banned from the ROM zone.
That's.
So it-
Oh, it's gonna be banned from, okay, I
It's
just
gonna be
didn't, you guys
banned,
went really
yeah.
fast,
So
and we're
it's banned
slower.
from the ROM zone. That's the only zone right now that permits it.
Oh, so you're gonna ban it from whatever
And so
zones?
It's banned everywhere else already.
All right, I know, I'm not the only one who thinks like this. I'm sure a lot of people.
We're not
are
lawyers.
confused.
We don't know
No,
this
I
stuff.
me neither, obviously. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Mayor, Council, residents. My name is Brian Sweeney from 21 Highlands Way. And I actually had a very different tone when I was going to come up here, but when you started off by saying every internet post is a lie, is actually a lie in itself. And I'd love for you to be able to explain what was a lie, because I actually created that petition.
Yeah.
And my petition was for the concerned residents of Lopatcong. We had over 950 signatures.
That's great, but you had someone say it was a proposed bill, that got everybody going crazy.
There was an ordinance on schedule to be reread tonight that actually allows data centers with restrictions.
That's why.
Then with
we did what we
the
did.
petition and all the noise, now you're adding one to ban.
Let's
So
go
for you
back
to
a
say
second.
that everything's a
Let's go
lie,
back a second. They were allowed before tonight, okay? Back in 12 or 15 years ago, they were allowed. We could not just go in and stop it or vote for that last time, because that would have gave them a chance to get in here. We had to do what we did. We had to listen to our attorneys, and that's why we're doing what we're doing now. We had to get all our information. We don't know. We have no idea how it's supposed to go, but we did find out in the last month. Now, that's why we're banning
well,
it.
it seems like we're the last township to be on board with this. So it'd be great if we could be more proactive in understanding what this means and have a master plan that
So
reflects.
you think a month for us to get all our facts together is too long? We don't have a meeting, we have a meeting once a month.
Tonight was the second reading that to prohibit or to allow data centers. So now it's changing. I'm very grateful that you're now prohibiting, but what really puts a bad taste in my mouth is saying that everything online was a lie, when all we really care about is that we're developing this town in an appropriate way, not data centers that are going to ruin property values. They're going to create noise. This is Warren County. This is farmland. This is not an industrial zone. Great, so then why start off with a bad tone saying everything
Not a
online?
bad tone, we're just
everything
telling you.
everything
So
online
everybody
that posted was a
doesn't get
lie.
up here for 3 minutes and say the same thing. We're banning them. It's very simple.
So what was the lie with the petition then?
It was not a proposed, no one proposed to do that. That's why it was put out there.
Allowing data centers.
No one ever said that.
Well,
Who said that?
until the
Mr.
ban was
Jackson?
put on the
Who?
agenda.
I don't know. Who said
Until
that?
the ban is put on the agenda, you are, in essence,
No
allowing.
one came to us. That's why we did it. You could swing it any way you want. It was never, no one ever did it. No one ever came to us. But we wanted to make sure we did it the right way. If you find that that's wrong, I'm sorry. We think we did it the right way.
But if you're not building, no one said that there's a data center that's going to be built in XYZ time. Once you allow it in your ordinance to say that these are the restrictions, in essence, you're saying we're allowing data centers.
There's no restrictions. It's banned.
No, it's not banned yet. It's first reading tonight.
Yeah, okay.
It's first reading tonight.
You got 21 seconds. Anything else? Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hey, Sarah Hare from Hope,
Can you spell your last name?
Hare.
And where in Hope?
We're in Hope, Delaware Road. I was here last meeting and I left here sad because an ordinance to allow data centers with conditions was being put forth. But I'm here to applaud you for putting the first reading of an ordinance to prohibit data centers on tonight's agenda. That is excellent. Thank you. I will admit that I was confused after attending the last meeting to see a complete turnaround from this council regarding data centers. But I do applaud you for doing the necessary research and for listening to residents' concerns. I think we give you credit for that. You are now among a majority of townships in Warren County that are adopting ordinances or updating master plans to completely prohibit data centers, including Alpha, Blairstown, Forlinghausen, Greenwich, Hope, Knowlton, Liberty, Phillipsburg, Powhatan, Washington Borough, Washington Township, and White. Your ordinance is particularly specific regarding data centers' extraordinary electrical consumption, increased regional electrical costs, and the increased use of diesel backup generators and battery storage systems, and many other negative impacts concerning these monstrosities. By adopting this ordinance, you will be protecting not only Lopatcong residents, but residents throughout the region and our priceless Highlands watershed. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Guy Citron, and I'm from Tewksbury Township. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Honorable Council members. I want to thank you for considering a prohibition on data centers. That is exactly the kind of community-first planning we need. Tonight, I am here to extend that same logic to warehouse overdevelopment.
Mr. Citron. Sir, Mr. Citron. Talk up here, don't talk too loud.
You're right, I was wrong. Thank you, sir. Recently, Lopatcong's township attorney told the Highlands Council that, and I am paraphrasing, not this gentleman, if this is, okay. Despite the fact that no,
About agenda item.
Yeah, this is agenda item.
this is on agenda. Despite the fact that nobody in Warren County wants more warehouses,
What agenda item are you speaking to?
the data centers, sir.
It's not a warehouse.
You're talking about warehouses.
The parcel that was just approved for redevelopment behind the old Phillipsburg Mall.
There's a public comment at the end. that
You
we
could,
can
yeah, you
discuss
can bring that
other
up.
issues.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
This
fair
is
enough.
just about the thing.
It's related, but fair enough.
Yeah. Just so we do it the right way. Yes, ma'am.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Megan McMahon, 22 Grant Way. Thank you for banning data centers. That's great. I just have a question about a certain section in the ordinance. Section 2D, components of redevelopment or rehabilitation projects, unless expressly authorized by subsequent ordinance. Can you explain what that means? Is there a possibility in the future for them to be built under certain criteria? Or
Just looking at, I'm sorry, what provision are you looking at?
Section 2, prohibited uses, letter D.
I don't see a letter D.
Is this ordinance number 2606? It was the one linked,
Yeah,
can I show you my paper?
sure. I see prohibited uses 1 and 2.
Here.
So this is different.
Oh, no, it was linked on the,
No, yeah, it might be the wrong one that was linked.
oh, okay.
D.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
There's no one there. T.
Oh, no, thank you.
Section 1,
Yeah.
section 2, section 3. Yeah, three sections.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, that's not the current iteration of it. So it should read
Thank you.
G prohibited uses. 1, outdoor display of merchandise, which is already there, and then adding 2 data centers as defined in the definition section.
Okay, so that's irrelevant. There'll be no chance of
Yeah,
like
I
authorized
apologize
anything?
for that.
Okay, well, that's great then. Okay, thank
Better
you.
yet, right?
Yeah.
All right, anyone else? Yes, sir.
And we'll get the correct version uploaded.
Yes, sir.
Tim Morrows, 909 Barnell Way.
How you doing, Tim?
Hey,
Talk to the
good.
phone.
Hey, so thanks for having me up here. I'm not opposed to data centers. I'm not for data centers. My concerns aren't for water or energy use. I think if we're talking about water consumption, maybe we'd be looking at golf courses and what to do with them when they go for sale. I appreciate the township's effort to get ahead of data center development, but after reviewing ordinance 2604, I think there's some technical gaps. I know that you guys have competing bills, but if 2604 ever comes back up, I'd like to put out my opinion. So first on battery storage and fire protection, you guys encourage battery storage systems, but the only mention of fire in the ordinance is an emergency access plan shall be approved by fire official and OEM coordinator. So lithium-ion systems pose unique fire and thermal runaway risks. If we're going to invite battery storage systems into the town, we need to require the safety standards and not hope developers follow them voluntarily. There's no mention of NFPA 855, which is the national standard. That's voluntary. Municipals have to put that in there. There's no mention for site sitting next to the batteries. If you look at sample ordinances for Montgomery and Chester County, they recommend 1,000 feet away. So I think that should have been in the ordinance. Second, on noise, we refer to our own noise standards, Chapter 147. These limits are less restrictive than World Bank standards and World Health Organization standards. Other municipalities in New Jersey have stricter standards. The fine also in Chapter 147 is only $500 a day. It's not a meaningful deterrent for a multi-million-dollar facility that spends that much on electricity. It seems like our noise ordinances haven't been updated since 1993, and the penalties still think that they're 1993. So maybe updating those penalties and any other inflation lagging penalties would help. Third, on thermal impacts, nearly all data centers, all the electric consumed, is generated heat. Other township ordinance guides recommend thermal studies by engineers to see how much that impacts you. So if I'm living next door and you increase my air conditioning bill for a break on your tax dollars, not really acceptable. Finally, on the renewable energy, so much of the sustainability language in the ordinance is advisory, and then some recent planning board changes making them mandatory. Not sure how mandatory it is, 100%, whatever. Given the enormous electrical demand on data centers, which are going up around town, maybe we should do some renewable energy around town too, and consider off-site renewable energy.
Thank you, I love your
Yep.
input. Yeah.
Thanks.
How you doing?
Hi, Mayor, members of the council. Thanks so much for having this, and I want to applaud you for introducing this
Could you
ordinance.
just give Beth your name, please?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yes, thank you. My name's Alicia Weigel. I'm a resident of Tewksbury Township. Weigel. So thanks again for hosting this hearing and for introducing this ordinance to, quote, ban, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the right, which number is this?
2606.
2606, great. I just want to make sure that it's clear and read into the record that this is germane to this particular item. My particular concern is to institute a proper ban for data centers. We need to avoid, for lack of more technical terms, what I would like to call a sneak attack. What we see happening in all of these counties and townships across the state is they will build these warehouses on spec and then retrofit them after the fact to become data centers. So that is kind of a loophole to get around the sort of ban that we are proposing and discussing today. I want y'all to be able to be heroes and protect this township from data centers, but it's not going to do its job if we pass this ordinance tonight, a warehouse is built tomorrow, and 2 months later that is sold to an AI company and retrofitted to become a data center. So again, I don't have the technical jargon. I'm just an everyday person. I'm speaking in layman's terms. But my concern is that this ban is effective and not simply performative. So I would like to address that, if not now, in the public commentary later. Thanks again for your time, and I'm happy to discuss further.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Judy.
Judy Liptak, 47 Kyle Drive. The statements I'm asking tonight represent my own personal opinions and not any of any other organization or any person. I just am asking, I have two questions of the council. One is taking the next step. Will you be taking the next step now to look at the master plan? Because your planning board looked at it. They said it aligns with the master plan, your first ordinance that allows data centers. So now to close even tighter loopholes, we need to look at that master plan. Is the council going to do that?
That's the next resolution, is
Okay.
authorizing a reexamination of the master plan. So,
Okay.
like I said, right now in the ROM, it's permitted.
Right.
So, the master plan allows it because it's permitted.
Right.
So we're banning it in the ROM, but we're also simultaneously going to send it to the planning board to look at the master plan and get that revised.
To get that revised. And would that also then help with the situation the young lady just spoke about for then warehouses being retrofit into data centers? Would that cover it if the master plan is also fixed?
Yeah, and right now with the prohibition as written, if they were to do that, one, they would need probably to pull permits through the revisions, and that would get denied by the zoning officer because that's not permitted.
Okay. And we're then ironclad tight that should they sue us, we're okay?
Yes, we're doing everything that we can do.
Okay, great. I'm still a little bit confused about the process, and I hope you can clarify this. What was the purpose of, please let me finish too before you answer. What was the purpose of drafting an ordinance to allow data centers to happen in the first place and have a first reading, and then have the planning board meet and align it with the master plan? Before there was insert at that moment, petition, online outcry from your citizens. So now you know that your citizens were upset. You had a wonderful, true statement of a petition written with hundreds and hundreds of signatures. Then we get I think it was a tapped-in article with the actual new ordinance that was, and links to the new ordinance that was to ban data centers. So I'm just trying to understand what that process was. Why did we have an ordinance? Planning board met, petition came. My hope is that you did hear the people and that you said, you know what, we need to rethink this. Thank you, community members. Thank you for the outreach. We are going to make some changes. If not, I would love to hear, and I think so would everyone else, why did we start with an ordinance for them? I know you started to explain it, but I just didn't.
Start. It came from the planning board to us because they were trying to protect
I
us.
think you could allow me on
Oh, you do that?
on that.
Oh, yeah, you can do that. I'm sorry.
Sure. So the Township Planning Board adopted a master plan reexamination report in 2012, which recommended that data centers be allowed in the ROM zone. And then the ordinance was then amended to allow them in the ROM zone. So there are currently, you could have an application for a data center in the ROM zone. It would be permitted use, and there are no restrictions on that. So the thought from the planning board was, why don't we look into mitigating some of the concerns that are prevalent with data centers? And that was the focus of, we can still allow data centers while being very stringent on what types of regulations they have to comply with. And then, so that was the process, and the planning board met several times and discussed those conditions. How can we control data centers if they were to come into Lopatcong Township? We can control any potential negative impacts to the community. And as far as whether when the town decided to change policy and prohibit them altogether, I can't speak to that, but that was the process that the planning board was looking at. The master plan from 2012, which already recommends data centers to be allowed, and they are allowed currently with no restrictions. So to put some protections in place to restrict the size and character of data centers and the impacts to the communities, that was the intent of the original ordinance.
So the strategy was to allow them with restrictions, so still protecting the community, not banning them.
That was the original strategy.
And then that strategy blew up, and now we're back to banning, which I'm very glad you're banning, very glad you're adjusting the master plan. I just wish you'd move forward with that. What a shame, the farmland behind the mall being another warehouse.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Dampierre, 36 Buckley Hill Drive, and I'm actually speaking for my son because he's a little nervous. And I don't mean to get emotional, and I appreciate that you guys are going to go this route. But I do want you to see, and he wants you to see, these things, these choices that you guys make affect more than just all of us as adults. These are children, and many of us came here to raise our families, and he's 10 years old. He hears about the stuff. He's very knowledgeable. He's very mature. He was here one time with my husband for the chickens. So he's very involved in these things. And his first fear was he has to leave his new Yankees bedroom. He has to leave his friends. He's going into the middle school because, God forbid, when we first saw the stuff come out, we heard that it was just, an option. We know nobody said that we were going to have them, but we knew, all right, every other town banned it, so of course they're going to rush to Lopat. We knew if that happened, we would have to sell our home because of the noise, because of the health risks, because of, electricity rising, and just all the environmental, the financial, and just the general life that we're looking to have here. So when decisions are being made, and I know this is for anything, think about, it's more than just the adults. You have children here, and a lot of, I think, kids that have been raised here actually still live here. So kind of keep that stuff in mind. And I'm sure your job is super hard trying to figure out what you're doing, but I truly would love to know, and I think a lot of us, I'm curious, what is the direction for Lopat? Because Sometimes there's a pool, there's warehouse, like, I really do wonder, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, I mean it because either I truly just don't even know where to find that information, and I've never come to a council meeting, and that's wrong, I should be involved, we should be in this, our children should be. But one thing that would have been awesome for all of our minds to just feel at ease was like, hey guys, listen, we have to protect you, but we're working on that. We stand with our community members. You guys live here. I'm sure nobody wants to hear that stuff or have a data center. So maybe being more like welcoming with the community members and just saying like, we can't speak directly on it. We have to talk to attorneys, but we're here. We've got your back. We've got the back of the community members. So then as parents, we can relay that to our children because not going to lie, tonight was a thing where I said, we're either putting our house on the market tomorrow or we can stay living here. And we didn't want to move. We don't want to move. So we just kind of wanted to like show you another side of who these choices affect and just kind of keep that in mind if you can. We would appreciate it. And all the kids would.
Thank you, Megan. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hi, Ken McCarthy, Powderhorn Drive. I've been a resident here for over 40 years now and seen a lot of things change in the town. I'm not going to make a big speech, but a couple of things were brought up that kind of I wasn't thinking about before. The one thing is the planning board, the master plan. I was completely confused about the whole thing, and I'll be the first one to admit it. There's all these exceptions and everything else. So all I want to hear in plain English is tonight, that master plan, whatever was done on that, it still exists, or this completely negates that master plan with this 4-story buildings and 60-foot tall buildings and everything else I read.
So the master plan is going to be a process, and that's a process that the planning board does. We have a resolution that is on the agenda authorizing the planning board to do a master plan re-examination report. And then that's what, we authorize them and then they do it. That's a planning board thing. What we're doing now is we have an ordinance for first reading prohibiting it in the only zone where it's currently permitted. It's not permitted in any other zone, so they can't do it in any other zone.
And that would be the Stryker Road area.
Correct. And then in July, it'll be on for second reading. Now, one of the nuances is because most likely that master plan won't be amended by that second reading, what we need to do legally is we're going to adopt it with special reasons as to why it is currently inconsistent with the master plan, which the law allows us to do. And that's what we'll do in the July meeting. And, but like I said, that there is the parallel track at the planning board where, because we want to move this quickly. We don't want to wait for the master plan to be amended. So that will get done in July, and then in parallel, the planning board will look at the master plan and do a reevaluation of it.
Okay. One other question you may not, I don't know if you'll know the answer to it or not, but the one lady brought up the retrofitting of warehouses once they're already existing. I've been reading that the warehouse on Stryker Road just laid off, I don't know if their entire staff, but their whole staff of forklift drivers. Is that closing down, or do you know?
Have you heard anything?
I've not heard anything.
We haven't heard anything.
They did not renew their lease.
Post office
The
has
post
it.
office has.
But
The lease.
so they don't, the people that operate it don't own the building then,
They're
correct?
just tenants,
Okay.
right? So
Should that be a concern of ours? That maybe they're losing their lease and we're going to have an empty giant warehouse sitting on Stryker's Road?
Oh, we might have an empty one. I mean, we can't control that, but we know it won't be a data center.
Okay, so again, I'm kind of repeating myself. So what you're doing tonight by banning this would negate anything even like that happening?
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Sir, did you want to come up? Coming back there? Okay.
Lee Rozicki, 56 Puddingstone Way. Gentlemen, thank you for 2026-06 new ordinance to ban data centers. I appreciate you doing your due diligence in reaching out to JPO Electrical Company and all those reasons that you stated in the ordinance. So that's wonderful due diligence on your part. And in listening to the residents here, and the concerns that we have. So kudos for that. A quick question about the master plan. Thank you for reiterating the process. Will there be public input into the master plan? I know there are stipulations set forth by the municipal law on what is to be reexamined. Will you have public input to that? And if you can answer that, because that, I think our town is at a new direction. We are limited green space, so it's not, in my opinion, a matter of future development, but maybe maintenance and maintaining the green space. I think a new vision has to be explored, and I'm hoping that you can get public input on what that would be so that it meets expectations of the residents of what our town wants to look like in the next 10 years. And I understand that a reexamination has to be done by law every 10 years or a minimum of every 10 years. So I would appreciate if we can have some public input on that so that the planning board can take our input and provide a plan to be voted on. So thank you.
So the master plan is under the jurisdiction of the planning board. The planning board has complete autonomous authority over the master plan and adoption of the master plan. And there is a required public hearing at the end and adoption of that master plan. So at least one public hearing for the public residents to comment on the master plan. There could be additional public outreach as part of that process as well.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Loretta Womelsdorf, WOMELSDORF, 218 Beer Street. I have lived in Lopat all of my life, and I've watched for decades as warehouses have crept in and taken over the town that I love. I want to thank you guys, and this, I had to amend this because, you know, things have changed. Thank you for putting forth 2026-06 ordinance. I want to speak in support of that because data centers in close proximity to residential areas create dangerous noise pollution that is proven to have negative health outcomes. They use our most precious resource, water, and use it in horrifically large amounts. Then, once used in a data center, that water can never be recirculated as drinking water because it's contaminated during the cooling process. New Jersey has been in a drought for nearly 2 years. Data centers raise the ambient temperature of nearby areas and destroy valuable farmland and green space we need. They cause utility costs to spike because they consume so much electricity just to run, and the energy company passes the bulk of the cost on individual households while giving the data centers a cheaper rate because they're super users. They often receive tax credits while giving the data centers a cheaper rate because sorry, excuse me, I don't public speak, I don't like doing this. They receive tax credits and incentives to be built and end up paying little to no taxes, then provide very few long-term jobs once construction is finished. And perhaps the most relevant for all of the people here, whether you like data centers or not, is that they tank property values of all homes nearby. Home buyers don't want to live in a small town with a data center. They're going to cause immense harm to our neighbors and the community at large. Now, again, I did have to change this around because things have changed within the past like 5 days. And I don't know if you guys, you know, I don't know what the thought process, we've talked about it a little bit here tonight, but to me, as a longtime resident who has been watching not this exact situation, but similar situations pan out over the years that I've lived here, and we've said we're going to do one thing and then we do something else. The fact that the original ordinance 2026-04 allowing data centers to be built was passed by the planning board on, what, May 27th? Only for a new one banning them, 2026-06, to be proposed the next day feels really confusing to me. And it feels a little intentional, maybe? I don't know. It just seems weird to me. So I wanted to put that out there. It doesn't really create a lot of trust. And I could go on, but
I just wanted to say, please, I strongly support 2026 passing and also the master plan being amended as well, so that we close any and all legal loopholes that would shoot ourselves in the foot later down the line. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Neil Moorcroft. I'll give you my business card. I never used to keep them, but I'm actually from Greenwich Township, so I'm your neighbour. I'm here as a neighbour because obviously what one neighbour does impacts another neighbour. So I want to throw my support in terms of thanking you for the consideration of the banning of the data centres. So about 18 months ago, I woke up one morning and found out that they were going to put a large warehouse to the east of me, on my street in Greenwich. And then 15 months ago, I woke up and heard that a developer had approached Greenwich Township to put a data centre to the west of me. So I've learned a lot over the last 18 months that I was never expecting to learn. I lived through the roller coaster of Greenwich Township changing the ordinance to allow the data centres, and then being involved with Commissioner Kern's draft ordinance that he recommended last December, that ultimately, I think it was last month, that I was part of the ongoing proceedings to see that actually adopt, to actually see Greenwich do the U-turn on that was fantastic. The warehouse business, unfortunately, 18 months later is still going on. What's very interesting, and reason I'm speaking is that I wanted to speak to the sneak attack strategy that was brought up before. So with that warehouse application, just before the applicant could make that application, the township actually changed the zoning to prohibit warehouses. So they actually submitted their application that looks and smells like a warehouse, but can call it light manufacturing. So basically this is an application that is in disguise, essentially. So my concern is, please consider that. I'm not a lawyer or an attorney, as much as I've learned over the last 18 months on how this works, but our concerns are that because it looks and smells like a warehouse, it is, to use the correct technical term, particularly well suited for a use variance that, should this be approved because it is a conforming use as light manufacturing, would then facilitate a use variance down the road to become a warehouse which is prohibited. Again, I'm not an attorney. I don't know how we could protect ourselves from that, but I wanted to make sure that you're aware of some of those techniques and whether you can, in terms of your efforts to change the master plan and the zoning ordinance, whether you can also try and make this as bulletproof as possible from some of the strategies that the developers can use to get around some of these restrictions. So again, thank you very much for the consideration for what you're doing, but I did want to make you aware of some of those aspects.
Anyone else?
Mr. Bruce.
I want to join in commending the council for Bob Bruce, 11 Harwich. Join with everybody else in commending the council for moving with some urgency due to the public outcry that arose. And I like the presence of people that I've seen here tonight. And I think we need to have more people showing up to the meetings. And I think that we'll want to be able to trust this council to have our best interests at heart, and I believe in this issue you do. When we have disagreements about that, we can air them through public comments. I watched as 2604 was being crafted. I believe it was 2, possibly 3 land use board meetings that were held on that. And I want to kind of double back to the beginning of what happened at the beginning of Mayor Wright's term where public comment was limited from 5 minutes to 3 minutes. And any public comment that land use board meetings was killed. I was understood that that was at the direction of Mr. Wright. If we're going to have a dialogue back and forth, as we're having tonight with the public present and asking questions and understanding things, I would ask that this council basically allow for public comment at land use board, whether it's questions or comments, but we've been stifled. Okay.
So public comment is required in certain situations. Land use board is not one of them.
I understand that, sir.
There's a statute for the master plan reexamination that requires public comment. So for the master plan reexamination process, we will obviously follow the law and have public comment as required by that.
Yes, I understand that when you have to have a statutory requirement met, and I'm simply saying that as a person who has attended the land use board meetings, because we were looking at 2604, and we were worried about it, we were not allowed to speak. I know it's not legally required that we be allowed to speak. I am asking that we be allowed to speak by Mayor Wright publicly saying that we have the right at least to make a public comment.
Yeah,
In the issue of transparency.
I'll defer to there's a land use board. I'll defer to that.
I'm sorry?
There's a separate attorney that sits on the board, so I'll defer to him to make that call.
I never told anybody they can't make, that's just what the rules are. I mean, I just
Okay,
follow the rules.
I got that from a member of the land use board, Mr. Mayor, and I'm only repeating what I was told when we inquired as to why we were no longer allowed to speak. And that was what I was told. And with that in mind, I come to you, and I feel
Check
like,
with the attorney.
well, attorneys, we understand legally it's not required. I am asking for a good faith effort to be made, that the people that show up get to at least have a public comment.
Thank you.
You said there's more public comment at the end?
It's at the end.
At the end, at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, anyone else? All right, seeing that, we'll move on. All right, ordinance number 26-06, first reading of the ordinance of the Township of Lopatcong, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 243 of the Municipal Code to prohibit data centers as a principal, conditional, or accessory use within the research, office, manufacturing zone. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
I'll second that. Roll call vote, please.
Yes, Councilman Belcarra?
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Leo?
Yes.
Mayor Wright?
Yes. Number 2, resolution of the Township of Lopatcong, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, authorizing and directing the Lopatcong Township Planning Board to undertake a periodic re-examination and revaluation of the Township Master Plan pursuant to NJS 4055D-89. Motion and a second, please.
Motion.
I'll second that. Roll call?
Councilman Belcarra?
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Leo?
Yes.
Mayor Wright?
Yes. Approval for minutes, May 6, 2026, executive and regular sessions. A motion and second, please.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Belcarra?
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Leo?
Yes.
Mayor Wright?
Yes. Ordinance number 2604, second reading and public hearing to amend the Code of Township of Lopatcong, Chapter 243, zoning and land use. Article 2, terminology, Article 14, zoning district and use regulations, and Article 15, conditional uses. Motion is second to hold a public hearing. Hearing no motion, 2604 dies on the floor. Number 3, ordinance number 2605, second reading and public hearing of chapter 243, zoning and land use, article 10, sign regulations regarding digital signs. In a motion and a second to hold a public hearing. I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Comment for the public, open signs? Seeing none, motion and a second to close the public hearing?
Digital sign ordinance.
Digital sign ordinance, yes.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion and second to adopt this ordinance. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Polito?
Yes.
Mayor Reddick?
Yes. Ordinance number 2607, first reading and bond ordinance providing a appropriation of $727,500 for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Lopatcong in the County of Warren, New Jersey, authorized issuance of $691,125 bonds or notes of the Township for financing part of appropriation. Motion second, please.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Polito?
Yes.
Mayor Reddick?
Yes. Ordinance 2608, first reading of the bond ordinance providing appropriation of $650,000 for various road improvements in and by the Township of Lopatcong in the County of Warren, New Jersey, and authorize the issuance of $495,610 in bonds or notes of the Township for financing part of the appropriation. Motion and second, please.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Polito?
Yes.
Mayor Reddick?
Yes. Consent agenda, items 1 through 13. Anybody have a problem with any of them?
Yeah, I'd like to remove number 3.
Okay, motion is, and second to remove item number 3 from the consent agenda.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So then, motion is second to decline number 3.
Motion. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Polito?
Yes.
Mayor Reddick?
Yes. So then, I need a motion and second for 1 through 2 and 4 through 13.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes. Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Polito?
Yes.
Mayor Reddick?
Yes. Council reports. Rich?
Mayor, I don't have anything at this point. The sewer situation is still pending.
Luke?
Yes, I just want to talk about the data centers for a moment. At the last meeting, and I know most of you were not here, I stated the decisions I make are not made on feelings or fear-mongering or doomsdayers or hearsayers. I like to know the facts before presented to me. Now, in the last month since the last meeting, I did a lot of research on data centers. And so, I inquired through JCP&L and other sources that would impact our community. I wanted to see, the impacts across the country, what's currently happening. And what I saw, because obviously this is new to most of us, and it's new to me. So what I saw, I didn't like what I was seeing. The impact, the water usage, utilities, the noise, right, amongst other things that comes with it. So that, I kept hearing over and over from residents from all over the country, not just here in New Jersey. So that impacted me a lot, because I wanted to see and hear for myself, from individuals and, how it impacted their communities. There was a town where a data center was built that people have raised their family, and their home and part of a nice sized residential became eminent domain. They actually took their homes to put data centers in. And I'm like, this is the power, right? This is how powerful Google and, Amazon and places, that has such
vast monies, and they do use nefarious, hidden secrets that they would come under. They wouldn't use the words data centers, but they would come under a different title. So that was an eye-opener to me, and besides, the privacy that the data centers are going to be accumulating, all of us will all be impacted. So, and I'm saying to myself, this is the one thing that obviously it would bring to the community would be revenue, right? Okay. However, the negative, which is so much, it would outweigh, all right, all those, the income that it would draw. So for me, that opened my eyes and made me to make an easier decision that we are banning these things. But again, and I think I could speak for all of us that we need to have facts, okay? Because feelings, they can change. Your feelings change day to day, so I don't like to make decisions on feelings. One day I feel this way, another day I feel that way, so present me the facts. We want to hear them, and I want to appreciate all of you for coming up here, again, sharing, your thoughts on this whole process. Thank you.
Scott?
I have nothing at this time.
Jim?
Thank you, Mayor. A few things regarding recreation. Music in the Park is underway. First performance was last Wednesday. There's one tonight. Every Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30, and there'll be 3 additional performances in August on Tuesday nights. So in August, there'll be Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights. Pickleball courts are open. I see a lot of activity there. I'd like to thank Brian and Carl for organizing the clinic last month. Got off to a very good start. And Community Day is August 29th, rain date September 12th. That's all for now, Mayor. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Just want to thank the fire department. They had their wet down for the new ladder truck. Saturday was a great day. Saw a lot of town residents at Delaware Park, the Circle. It was a real nice day, and they did a great job. So I want to thank them for all the work they did. That's about all I have. Engineers report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. To give everyone an update, we currently have a number of projects that are ongoing in various stages of design and permitting and construction. Currently, we're working on, it was approved last month, the continued work on the Fox Farm Road storm damage repairs. So our next phase of survey and permitting work is underway for that, for the permanent repairs. It's been a long process working with FEMA and the police department, police chief, to get the funding secured for that. So that's going to be progressing here, so we can get our permits from the DEP that are required for that road repair work. The Sallyport project, maybe the public has seen it, is continuing. We have a bit of site work that's going to be scheduled for the coming month, and ultimately the project should be completed. There's a bit of delays on some materials, but target is to get that completed by August once those materials come in to complete the building improvements. Excuse me. The next phase of our road program is Strikers Road Phase 1 improvements. It's the northern section of Strikers Road from Bellevue Drive down to James Avenue, I believe. So that work was approved this evening by the council, and we'll be working on those plans to get them into the NJDOT for approval, and then ultimately with the targeting of fall construction on that project. In the last few months, we've had some conversations, in the last 2 months or so, we've had some conversations regarding Reservoir Road and improvements to that roadway in terms of drainage and resurfacing of the road. Met with Brian Weeks on the Public Works road superintendent on the road as well. So our next steps there will be preparing, scoping the design efforts and giving that to the council for approval so that we can begin work on that project. And then finally, our NJDOT local aid grant, those grants are due by July 1st to the state for our next round of road project funding. So we'll be applying for Pudding Stone Way and Briar Place improvements per direction of the council last month. So that application will be prepared this month and submitted to the state by July 1st for funding. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Police report, Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. For the month of May, we had our traffic report. We had a total of 313 motor vehicle stops, with 47% of those being stopped issued citations, and 21% of those were commercial motor vehicles of those that were cited. And just a couple announcements. On Friday, June 5th, this Friday, we'll be participating in the 43rd Law Enforcement Torch Run in support of Special Olympics. So you might see some of our officers out there running in the streets in that support. And then Saturday, June 6th, we'll be participating in Goal Zero, which is a statewide initiative throughout the state to lower fatalities on our roadways. So we'll be having a high visibility traffic enforcement throughout that day. And that's my report.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks. DPW, Brian?
Yeah, just a quick review. We've been out streets, we've been cutting grass, dragging ball fields, keeping the sports going. The workman is not back yet. They're still having a hard time getting parts for it. So we're finding other ways to maintain and keep the sports running. All right. So some of them has been a little down, a little up, but they've always been able to play. So I think we did okay for them. I met with Bill Berg the engineer over on Jade Lane, and about the spill and everything that happened with that company over there. All right, and where we're going to go with it. Their machine broke and just covered the road and made it look like a nightmare over there. All right, so it's at the engineering to figure out where we want to go with it yet. So that is in the process of happening. We did have the veterans area, Belvedere High School comes down. And we work with them, and they work with us, and do the veterans area and put down the mulch and plant the flowers and do everything. So that's a good thing for them. They enjoy it. The upgrade on the firehouses, I appreciate you doing the doors. I can move on that tomorrow, get that going. He's ready to go. All right. All the rest of the stuff, the lights, the lettering that's there, all but the hard lettering is that's being built now. All right, so that is coming. All right, that will be upgraded in there. We've been doing potholes, all right, here and there. We set up for the wet down, all right, for fire trucks, and then broke down, picked everything back up. And one thing, I don't know where to go with it yet. I'm watching kids go on the ball fields with their bikes and bring dirt and stones. And that was back to what we were complaining about the other day. It is a ball field. It is not a stone place or a place for you to ride your bikes and build a stone mound of little stones and then just smash them around. So myself and the other guys, we walked around, the fields and spent hours picking up stones. All right, just so the kids could play safely and do things. So just wanted to pass that on to you. So, all right.
Ryan, what's the time frame for those? Is there a time frame getting that fixed yet?
What fixed?
The workmen there? The workmen equipment?
They're working on it now.
Are you gonna be able to find parts?
They told me a while ago it's gonna be about 2-3 weeks, and that was about a month and a half.
I was gonna say, a couple months now, isn't it?
It's, once you get a certain age, it's time to buy new. And
how old is that now?
Well, it was here when I was here, and I've been here 22 years almost.
Huh.
So it's done its well. You know what I mean? So maybe next year or whatever we put in the budget to move forward. And
prices on it.
Upgrade it, yeah. So, all right.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, EMS, anybody here from EMS? No. Shade Tree, Robin?
Fire chief? Fire chief's report.
Yeah, Fire Chief, he's not here, but he left his report with me. Fire Department responded to 21 calls this month, bringing 2026 total to 103 calls for service. And that's all he gave me. So that's Board of Education.
Good evening, Mayor Wright. Thank you to you and the council members again for allowing me to speak on behalf of the Lopatcong Township Board of Education. As the number of days in the school year is winding down, it feels like the number of activities and events in our school is accelerating. The middle school held a wonderful Memorial Day program to honor veterans from Lopatcong and throughout the Lehigh Valley, especially those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. Our students assisted with the empty table ceremony, and our choir assisted with the ceremony. The Phillipsburg Band was also present, which included the tap ceremony to honor the fallen. There was an outstanding job by our middle school principal, Mr. Bonney, and our technology director, Mr. Boyer, plus all the other people that assisted in that. It was really a nice day. The PTA did do an amazing job with the Harlem Wizards game. I know that I had talked about it for now a little while. Students and staff had a fun-filled night with a show that was light on basketball but heavy on entertainment. The Wizards took on our Lopatcong staff in an energetic and entertaining game of basketball at the high school. Spectators got to enjoy dancing, comedy, contests, autographs, and giveaways, in addition to cheering on their favorite staff. The energy in the gym was absolutely electric. The PTA realized approximately $7,000 in profit, and as I've mentioned more than once this year, they utilized those funds by continuing to sponsor 2 of the clubs that happen in our schools, both schools, and many dedicated events for our students and the community throughout the year. It was just an absolutely awesome event. We thank them for that. As you look around at our campuses, both at the elementary school and the middle school, you will notice quite a few new trees have been planted as part of the tree planting grant that was secured last year. This includes 18 trees at the elementary school and 12 trees at the middle school. So we're grateful for that grant, and it's going to be really nice for our environment. There have been many grade level trips, elementary school fun day, and Special Olympics torch run. The torch run is this Friday. We will be participating in that. Next week, there will be the 4th grade picnic, the 8th grade promotion. That promotion happens on Thursday, June the 11th. And the last day of school for the 25-26 school year will be next Friday, June the 12th. While our students will be finished for the summer, administration and school board will have a lot to do. Our school board members are currently finishing a board self-evaluation, and we will meet on June the 20th for a full-day retreat where we will be setting board goals and discussing with the superintendent desired school district goals for the 26-27 school year. Action steps are then developed over the summer. One last item, we have a board member who will be moving out of Lopatcong and has given us their resignation for the end of June. The board has advertised asking for anyone interested in filling the seat, which will begin July the 1st, to send a resume and cover letter to the district business administrator by June the 12th. We will then hold interviews in public at the June 18th meeting. Anyone interested can please see our website for details. Lastly, the district looks forward to continued community engagement, including participation in the Lopatcong Community Day in August. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, LAA, Mark? All right, approve department reports. Motion second, please.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Payment of bills. Motion second, please.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Marinelli?
Yes.
Councilman McLean?
Yes.
Council President Polito?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. All right, public comment. Guy, you can go if you want.
My name is still Guy Citron, and I am from Tewksbury Township. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Honorable Council members. I want to thank you for considering the prohibition on data centers in your ordinance tonight. That is exactly the kind of community-first planning that we need. Tonight, I am here to extend that same logic to warehouse overdevelopment. Recently, Lopatcong's township attorney told the Highlands Council that, and I am paraphrasing, despite the fact that nobody in Warren County wants more warehouses, If they have to go somewhere, they should go here. In this case, here meant active heritage farmland behind the old Phillipsburg Mall in Lopatcong, which the council then approved for another massive warehouse in the name of redevelopment. Respectfully, the issue is simple. If nobody wants more warehouses, then why should they go anywhere? Warehouses now consume hundreds of acres at a time, posing serious risks to our environment, infrastructure, and quality of life. They are increasingly becoming Trojan horses for data centers and other industrial uses, including for-profit, private detention centers. Too often, these projects are backed by out-of-state and even international interests, while local residents are left with the traffic, the flooding, pollution, and infrastructure demands that follow. That is why tonight's data center ordinance mattered. To me, it recognizes a simple principle. Just because something can be built does not mean it should be. In New Jersey, communities have a right to decide what belongs in their backyard. If we fail to exercise that right, others will make those decisions for us. I hope the foresight being shown on data centers tonight will guide future decisions about warehouse development as well. Thank you for your time, consideration, and your service, sir.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, man.
Brianne Volk-Sweeney, Highlands Way. I was not prepared to speak tonight, so this is really me just pontificating. First, I want to express extreme gratitude for making this reversal. I can't explain enough how much it means to us and our whole community. My children are fifth generation to this area. Our roots are very deeply embedded in this area. That being said, as much gratitude as I have, I am deeply heartsick that our elected official, our mayor, started off this meeting with such an aggressive, abrasive, condescending, rude tone. It's a really bad look for you, for this whole council, and for our whole town. This is on YouTube. People are recording. People are here from far and wide. It makes me very upset. And I would hope that you could go forward and embrace collaboration, seeking feedback from your community, allowing the planning board for respected citizens who have something to say to make impassioned speeches that really affect our whole town. You do work for us, you are elected by us, and I would hope that we as a whole town would embrace collaboration. We're gonna have to make hard decisions. I appreciate, Mr. Belcaro, I loved what you had to say. I embrace change and the thought that you don't know it all. We don't know it all. That's why we come together as a community and share information. And it's not misinformation. We were not lying. Somebody explained an ordinance and the community came together to express an extreme concern that we had about the overdevelopment of our community. You can side-eye me all you want, Mayor Wright. That's why your nickname is Mayor Wrong.
You're speaking wrong, though, right? It was not what was proposed, and
Mayor,
that didn't get everybody going.
Mayor, I'm not asking for that. Your tone sets the stage. And it shows you're very sophomoric in your words. And I don't appreciate it. I don't think our town appreciates it.
That's your choice, man.
It's my truth, it's my choice.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. Thank you.
Lee Vizicki, 56 Queenstone Way. Just a quick question under new business. Could you describe what the various capital improvements are?
I don't know. Do you want me to speak to that?
Ordinance 2607, first.
Yeah. You got it?
Oh, okay. You got it, Alan?
Well, certainly. So the capital improvements really are to fund the improvements to Stryker Road that we have. So, excuse me. Essentially, the funding is being secured by the township. Part of that funding is going to be provided in a reimbursement grant through the state, but the township has to front the money first, essentially, to fund the survey, design, permitting, and then ultimately construction. And then a portion of that gets reimbursed by the NJDOT through a grant that we obtain every year for roadway improvements. But that money has to be ordinanced and secured up front so that all that work can be done. And then at the end, sort of at the back end, you get that money back, or part of that money back from the state. So that's what basically any sort of roadway resurfacing, drainage improvements, just typical maintenance and upkeep of the roadway network in the township, that's funded through those ordinances.
So it's just the Strikers Road?
Strikers Road and Reservoir Road
No,
as well.
and that's it for that?
Those are the two road jobs that we have priority for this year, correct?
Any other besides road work that falls under those capital improvements to, I don't know, municipal building or, any other areas?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I know that there is a separate ordinance that's funding the Sallyport improvements for the police department. So that was also funded under a capital ordinance.
Okay.
But not this capital ordinance.
Right.
So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone else?
I'm still Sarah Hare from Hope. And by the way, I've been to land use board, planning board meetings all over this county, and at every one that I've attended, the public is allowed to speak. So I was kind of shocked to hear that maybe that doesn't happen here in Lopatcong. I'd like to say that I am standing up here again to praise you for another decision you're making, but indeed I am not. I find it baffling and ironic that while you have just voted to pass an ordinance to prohibit data centers on for a second reading, which will likely end in a vote to adopt, that you recently sent an application to the Highlands Council to designate a lot of prime farmland behind, but please note, not connected to the old Phillipsburg Mall property as an area in need of redevelopment. This decision opens the door to a nearly 400,000 square foot warehouse being built. And did I hear that it's Mr. Perucci, who's a friend of Senator Steinhardt's, who will profit from the building of that warehouse? I don't know. Let me just quote from the data center ordinance to prohibit data centers. You do not want development that increases noise impact, increases stormwater impacts, increases security and emergency management concerns, requires excessive land consumption, and impacts the orderly development of the municipality. And yet, you are willing to put a nearly 400,000 square foot warehouse behind the soon-to-be nearly 900,000 square foot warehouse of the old Phillipsburg Mall land, which will absolutely increase noise impact with construction and truck traffic, seriously impact stormwater runoff into the Lopatcong Creek, which is a Category 1, meaning it is among the most sensitive environmental waterways in the state of New Jersey. Mega impervious surface in that area will no doubt result in flooding as well. I don't need to mention how increased truck traffic and the risk of warehouse fires and emergencies puts a strain on area emergency services. And regarding excessive land consumption and orderly development of the municipality, well, destroying 40-plus acres of prime farmland that is in a Highlands conservation zone can only be called excessive land consumption and disorderly development when it is absolutely not necessary. The The irony of wanting to build a warehouse in that location is extremely suspicious and will certainly be the opposite of what you are stating in the data center ordinance. You owe residents of Lopatcong, Pohatcong, and Phillipsburg an explanation. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. I'm Sandy Barringer. 480 Lock Street, number 10 Plain, Morris Canal. The land that you're talking about putting this warehouse, the Lenopes were there. When the old farmers, and I was raised there from the time I was 4.5, and the land, when the farmers would do a deep plow, we would find the artifacts of the Indians and the white snow geese land there. So you're going to destroy much, much more than you think. And I think you better pay attention to what you're doing to our township. Are you all from this? Have you been born and raised here?
I have.
Who?
Mr. Marinelli?
I knew you. I knew that name. The rest of them, I don't know. You have no clue what you're doing to our land. Better think about it twice. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brittany Watts. I'm from Phillipsburg. I live over by the Morris Canal, and that's what I would like to change the perspective of. It's not the mall that we're worried about. The mall's already built there. Be my guest, that property's already paved. But on the Morris Canal side, we get flooding when it's raining too hard. It's where my kids like to go fishing, ride their bikes, play in the creek when it's too hot, because I can't afford the pool, and I don't know what happened to Lopat Pool, but there's that again. But it's not just about the mall part of it. It's gonna affect us on the other side of town. And it's just not, I'm glad that we agree that data centers are not okay. Neither are the warehouses. Thank you.
Patrick Brown, 310, over here. Question for the 40 acres, right, we're talking about over behind the mall. Why don't we buy it? Why don't we buy it? Why don't we buy it and preserve it? Why doesn't Warren County buy and preserve it? I think that should be something that, you know, whoever owns it, say Mr. Perucci, right? We all know him, right? Maybe for his next development, we'll give him a tax break on that for that land. You know, why don't we buy the 40 acres? Then we don't have to worry about it. We can make a nice park, people to walk through. We don't have to worry about flooding, right? Protect the arrowheads, protect the artifacts. Could be a burial zone over there. Who knows? But have you ever thought about just buying the land? I would chip in through tax dollars for something like that, as opposed to, you know, whatever, even building a pool, which is great and everything, but why don't we buy it? So I just give you an idea.
We just bought that long piece, you know, on Belvedere Road that goes all the way back. That was.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Big
I've been up there.
purchase.
Yeah.
I mean, but we don't have that kind of.
Right, but for this, right now, they want to put a warehouse in there. Why don't we come in with an offer? They did it up in Belvedere, right? Right across from Red Wolf, remember that? Right? They had that 70 acres there, and they're gonna put a warehouse there?
Yep.
Why don't we buy that? Bond it, pay for it, buy it, move on. And then there's no warehouse, no flooding, none of that other stuff. So just an idea for you. All righty?
Thank you, sir. All right.
Hi, good evening. Susan Sika. I live in Alpha, SICA. I have been to hearings here before you approved the redevelopment for the Phillipsburg Mall, and I am raising the concern again that I raised then, for which there was no answer, which is the fact that on all of these considerations, and I know this, you simply cannot talk about infrastructure. When we were at the Highlands Council meeting, what was said over and over again about why we deserve another warehouse or data center or whatever is it's a mile from 78. And it was said again and again and again to push the industrialization of this area. At no point, though, and you're going to tell me this because you've told me this before, not you individually, but councils like these, we can't do anything about the highways. So I'm just going to remind you that we live in New Jersey and that we have 1 mile, 3 lights for tractor trailers, some of them double, to make a left-hand turn. Nothing will be planned for that except we are going to time the lights. As I said then, and I will say again, the math won't math. You only need a few amount of trucks before that 1 mile is going to be bumper to bumper and nobody's going anywhere. Again, the development gets away with it because they don't have to consider that. They'll stay, what was said then, the mall will be like, the warehouse will have the same kind of traffic it would on Christmas Day for the mall, except that not every day is Christmas Day. And now we're trying to put another warehouse behind that warehouse. Let's talk about highways. Can we? No, because you don't have to consider that. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, ma'am.
Evening all. My name is Matthew Watts, Mill Street. I'm related to that lady that came up before. I liked what you said, Councilman Vaccaro, very, very accurate. And I didn't want to, I too attended that Highlands Council meeting. And I just think that some of the Highlands Council report or some of the deeming that land in need of redevelopment, I think that the plan was extremely comprehensive for development of the mall itself property. But a little about my background. I have a degree in environmental science with a specialty in water and wastewater. And a lot of the Highlands Council report, like specifically stated everything, all of the stormwater and all of the runoff was going to be up to NJDEP regulations. And when you're talking about water and wastewater, NJDEP regulations, EPA regulations are the bare minimum. And all of the report was essentially saying we're going to maintain adherence to the bare minimum. And that's essentially what is told to most residents when you build like the big warehouse on the Rand property, which I fully support and I think is awesome. And I think I fully support redevelopment of the mall property because it was already developed. But when you extend into that and create more impermeable surface, holding the bare minimum may have significant effects on people like me that live right there and people that live on Lock Street and a bunch of the other residents. So I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
I'm still Neil Moorcroft. I'm still your neighbour. And I wasn't planning on speaking about this, but I really had to say something based on what the other comments were. I was also there at the Highlands Council when they made the vote. I was representing the Bloomsbury Coalition against warehouse sprawl. I was deeply saddened by what happened at that vote. I'd already been interacting with the Highlands Council because of my own fight against the proposed development down the road from me, because Greenwich Township has one of the best water supplies in New Jersey. It has 12.3 billion gallons of water, about the same size as Spruce Run Reservoir, the third largest. A very, very precious resource. So my interest in collaborating with the Highlands Council was, of course, protecting that resource. And I was really hopeful that the Highlands Council would continue to do that job of protecting the resources. We can't keep paving over the Highlands region and expect to turn the tap on and get water. And I think that's a very important. These areas were designated for preservation, not just because we thought that was a good idea, but because of the preservation of the resources that we had. I think it's very sad to see pristine farmland have a way of being labeled as in need of redevelopment. The fact that farmland and in need of redevelopment just doesn't go together. And the kind of the strategy that was actually being proposed to enable that was very sad, because it really negates the whole point of what, in my opinion, the Highlands Council was formed to do, was to protect our resources that we can't get back once it gets paved over. So I just wanted to share that with you because also based on tonight's discussion, I think if we can have the conversation, if we can find out other solutions, we've just talked about preservation, turning it into a park, or whatever it is, there's many different solutions that there could be for this. I was very concerned. There was kind of a discussion of a binary discussion. It's either farmland or it's a warehouse. There's nothing really in between. There's no other kind of other solution. I'm a landowner myself. I have over 100 acres out of state. My land is no longer available for farming. I have farms around me. I grow timber. I do recreation. The point is there's many other solutions other than either farmland, warehouse. So I wanted to share that with you and hope that we can continue the dialogue in terms of coming up with solutions that work for all of us. Thank you.
Hey, anyone else? Seeing none, motion for adjournment. Oh, you got one, man? Come on. All right, 1 second. Go.
I just have a small thing to say. I'll spell it Dadarria. My first name is Nikki. I live on Bow Boulevard in the newer Larkin property. This is my first meeting, and so it's nice to meet all of you. I think some of your faces are familiar from other things I've done, but not sure. So I just wanted to say this. I have listened to everyone. They all have very valid points. Everyone has an opinion and or some science to back up what they're saying to you. What I'm not seeing back is a lot of understanding. Perhaps Mr. Bacaro is the only one that I really felt like he was engaged. You, Mr. Mayor, didn't show up tonight. But I'm hopeful that you hear us and you actually consider what's being said tonight instead of just doing this by rote, listening to the people because you have to come to this meeting. I got the impression specifically, Mayor Wright, from you, that this was just not your night. I've never met you, I've never heard you speak, but I definitely got the impression that this was not something you wanted to do tonight. And that may be, maybe you're having a bad day or something else is going on, but I felt like after sitting there that I really needed to say that to you. So anyway, I hope you really actually listened and take the things that people said here tonight under advisement and not just yes us or ignore us or do what you're going to do anyway. So that's it. Thank you.
Good evening. I am here for another concern. My name is Debbie Stefano, and my son Bob Stefano is a police officer here in the township for approximately 22 years. 410 South First Street. For those of you who don't know what happened in the past couple months, 3 police officers, Andrew Wayne, Bob Stefano, and Lou LaFord, took the civil service test for the lieutenant's position. I believe that the past practice was not followed. Scott, I've known you since you were a patrol officer. Can you please explain exactly what the past practice procedure is for officers who take the civil service test?
So I do want to say that there is an active grievance going on, and
I know that.
I'm privileged. I have to advise our council not to discuss this matter.
I am here tonight.
I understand. You can say whatever you want. I just have to advise.
All right, I have the floor now. Thank you.
I got to go with the attorney. I'm sorry, Mrs. Stefano.
Okay, I'll continue. I am here for clarification, justification, and accountability. For you people of Lopatcong Township that are not aware of what happened, these 3 police officers went and took the civil service test in which Andrew Wayne placed first, Bob Stefano placed second, Lou LaFord placed third. Unfortunately, Lou LaFord went to someone on council and spoke to him about the position of the lieutenant. It is my understanding that Jason Garcia, the police chief, told Andrew Wayne that he was going to be given the lieutenant's position. Now, what happened is that, so you messed me up because you guys wouldn't do this. All right, let me see, where am I? The council overturned Jason's decision, in which, according to the past procedures, the person who places first in the civil service test is the one who is to get the lieutenant's position. Now, because Lula Ford went to someone on council, Jason's decision was overwritten by council, and Lula Ford was given the lieutenant's job.
I'm sorry, that is the 3 minutes.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, that is the 3 minutes.
I don't care. I'm here to talk.
That's over.
I don't care. I have the floor.
30 seconds.
No, there's a three, we can't bend the rules for one person and not other people.
Well, either that
We have the rule.
or you hear from my attorney.
That's fine. We can't bend the rules for one person because then it's unfair for other people.
But this is a concern for the township, for the committee,
I understand, you
and
can
the
reach out to my
people,
office.
and the people that don't know what's going on.
So I don't want to discuss this further. There is an active grievance. And
All right, anyone else? Yeah, which one?
I just want to go real quick. Susan H. Lopatcong Overlook again, Susan Haley. You mentioned digital signs real quick. Everybody's like, yeah, digital signs, and that got approved. I'm just curious, is that like digital billboards, or is that little digital Dr. St. Luke signs?
With that? Oh, yeah.
Who?
Dan can.
Hi, Dan.
Hi. Yeah, it's not for billboards, it's just for small digital signs.
Oh, not like gigantic ones over the mountain, welcome to, okay, just checking, because Bridgewater had that problem with a giant sign a couple months ago that was trying, where lights would be, I just wanted to let everybody know, sometimes digital signs can be billboards that you can see, like on the highway, 78. I just didn't want that in Lopatcong. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
The ordinance specifically says it's not for billboards, it's not for off-site advertising, it's just for on-site signage.
Like little signs, you said, small. Is there a size restriction to the signs?
Yes, the same size signs that would have been permitted otherwise, they're just now allowed to be digital.
Like approximate, like 10 feet by 10 feet?
Somewhere around there.
Okay, thank you.
Bob Bruce, 11 Harwich Road. I was at those planning board meetings, and I invite people to show up to the planning board meetings as well as the council meetings. I thought the planning board did an excellent job with the digital signage. I fully understood the issues at the time. So I just wanted to commend you on that. And throughout the last couple of meetings regarding the 2604, I felt you were pretty exhaustive in trying to do what you could do within the constraints that you had at the time, and I'm glad that 2606 negated the need for all of your work. I wanted to switch gears and basically just return. Earlier, you had mentioned Shoreland had requested a withdrawal of the bid, and you took a vote to deny that. And that, I believe, is part of the pool project. And I'm just asking, now that you have a lot of residents here tonight, if you could just explain where we stand with the pool project and the bids and the costs.
Yeah, so Shoreland, I don't want to get into details because there is attorney-client privilege, but Shoreland was the low bid when it was open. They had a request to withdraw for a mistake. There's specific requirements in the local public contract law that they need to show that it is a mistake, that's a substantive mistake. The vote to deny their request to withdraw, the council determined they did not show that it was an actual substantive mistake. And the bids are still outstanding, and they haven't been awarded yet. At a later meeting, there'll be a decision on the awarding of those bids.
There were only one of the bidders.
There's 4 other bidders, but they were the low bid.
Okay. So any general status that you can inform the town where we stand with the bidding process? I understand it's been killed. We've gotten bids that we didn't like and we asked for rebid. Can you just?
Sure, if the mayor's, council's willing. So the project's been bid 3 times. The first 2 times the project was bid was the entire park improvements that were contemplated as part of a park master plan that was prepared years ago. The improvements that were shown and intended for those first 2 bids came in well above the township's budget and anticipated cost for the project. So the approach that our firm took and our team took was to reduce the scope of the work, to really focus on the core of the project, which is the pool, the bathhouse, and the improvements specifically surrounding the pool and really the parking around in and around the pickleball courts. So this is the most recent bid that we're discussing now, and that Wade, our attorney, has been dealing with the contractors that have been the low bidders, and we don't believe it's sort of the information and backup information that they provided does not lead us to believe that they had a substantive error or omission in their bid, but contractors unfortunately sometimes feel like they might have left some money on the table and they'd like to pull their bid. So, I'm not privy to all those conversations. I know it's sort of an attorney issue at this point, but our hope is that we can reach an accommodation or agreement with this contractor. We can get the pool and the bathhouse and the parking areas constructed for use of the residents. But that's part of what the sort of attorney coordination now with these contractors and with their staff and attorneys is ongoing right now. So the hope is we're trying to get this over the finish line, but it's sort of taking longer than we're expecting on the bidding side. So that's the update I can provide right now.
Okay. All right, anyone else? All right, seeing none, motion for adjourn?
Motion.
I'll second that. All in favor?
All right.
Thank you for coming out, everyone.
Thank you.